What is up, my fellow golf ball addicts? Welcome back to the channel, and we are doing another golf ball review, a quad review today. We are doing the entire Bridgestone Tour lineup. Let's dive right in. Guys, as always, if you like this content, please like, comment, subscribe, anything that helps the algorithm out a lot. As I sit right now, we are almost at 20,000. Thank you so much. We also do have a membership that just starts at $1 a month. If you want to contribute to this this channel further, you know, there's $1, $5, $10 a month, and it just helps me provide more content to you. So I appreciate everyone who does that as well. So the Bridgestone Tour lineup is one of those lineups where it does kind of have, I don't want to call it a cult following, but there's a lot of passionate people about Bridgestone. There are. Every time I do a Bridgestone review, and if the review is good, I see, you know, overwhelming praise. But if I do one that's not as good, I see some people really get hasty in the comments, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with being passionate about golf balls. Trust me, you're not going to find anyone more passionate than me. However, the Tour B lineup has been hit and miss for me in the past. My big problem last year when I tested these golf balls, it's not that they were terrible, it's not that they performed badly, it's that based on what Bridgestone was telling me they should do, they weren't doing. And, you know, this year we've really tightened up how we test golf balls. You know, I've kept swing speed, you know, we've added some metrics. I feel really confident about the test this year. So we're going to run through again. We're going to give them a retest for this season. There's no new model. These are still the 2024 models. You know, they haven't updated them this year. But I'm excited to see what the new results are. So let's go ahead and dive right into pricing and design. Now, all these golf balls are going to come at an MSRP price of $49.99 a dozen, which for a tour ball, especially the one that the king, Tiger Woods himself, dons and plays, that's actually a really good value. You know, with golf balls being $55 a dozen right now, some of them being $60, $49.99 is a great value just from the rip. But it actually gets a little bit better than that. If you decide you like a particular golf ball model, you can actually get a buy three, get one free from Dick's Sporting Goods, multiple retail outlets, but essentially that's available all year round. So that means 150 bucks will get you 4 dozen. That's around like $37, $38 per dozen. Guys, for a tour level golf ball like this that people are winning on tour with, under 40 bucks a dozen is legit. And that's not a special they run once or twice a year. That's all the time. So I give Bridgestone a lot of credit there. That's a really good value for a tour ball. It really is. There are some, I mean, heck, Vice golf balls now are $40 a dozen, and that's direct to consumer. I know you can get those in bulk, but I'm just saying, 37, if you decide you like them, is a pretty good deal to stock up for the season. Now, when it comes to the design of these golf balls, they all have the Bridgestone B, as you can see there. It's a logo that's grown on me. You know, I like the simple look. I like how they just use their logo. A lot of golf ball companies are putting words and gunking it up. You know, it's not my favorite, but I like that. It's very simplistic. What's really cool, though, is they use coloring to differentiate between the distance golf ball and the spin golf ball. As you can see, the red numbers indicate distance golf balls for, you know, golfers who want increased distance and less spin, and the blue indicates if you want more spin, but a little bit less distance isn't the end of the world. So cool to know that, but there's no way to tell without actually looking on the side to see whether it's the, you know, the under 105 model or the over 105 model. Now, what I mean by that is essentially that all 4 of these golf balls, they're all tour models. They're actually designed with a really interesting fitting process in mind. So, you know, a lot of golf balls will just tell you simple things and basic jargon. Bridgestone actually is really heavily into the golf ball fittings right now. They're definitely the most forward company on this, and I really do appreciate that, being a guy who preaches golf ball fittings. But essentially their goal is to fit you into the best model of golf ball possible, and so they have 4 tour models. The Tour B RX and the RXS are both for under 105, okay? So those are for under 105 mile an hour, and of course your RX being your distance golf ball, a little bit less spin, but if you want more distance. The RXS being, the blue number, being if you want more spin, but distance isn't as important. And then if we go over to the XS and the X, same concept, XS being more spin, X being more distance, but now those are for over 105 mile per hour. Now, something that my longtime golf ball addicts will realize is I got those names correctly. I have struggled for 5 years on RX, RXS, XS. It always confuses me. Tour B, too many letters, too many variations. It confused the heck out of me. I've been critical of it. But after half a decade, I'm finally there. I figured it out. If we look at the alignment tool on the side, that alignment tool right there isn't anything special, and my golf ball addicts long time will know I don't really care for that. But Bridgestone does get a pass here because Bridgestone does have this mindset. Now, mindset is one of those things where you either like it or you hate it. I mean, there's no in between, I found, based on last year's feedback and what I've seen. I don't mind it. At least it's different. They're trying something new. But basically what this mindset is one, it's an alignment tool. It does have the arrow, as you can see there. But the rings represent different things, right? Your green, you know, the different steps in the golf process. You have your red there, you have your yellow, you have your green, and it's to allow you to focus on different aspects of the golf swing, preparation, you know, focusing on your target, and then just focusing on the ball and letting it rip. Like I said, some people really hate it, some people love it, but at least it's different. So as far as the alignment tool, you know, if I was going to line my putt up, I could do this. It's not my favorite alignment tool for putting, but it works. They're trying. I give them a pass. And if I have any yellow lovers, guess what? The Bridgestone Tour B lineup does come in yellow as well, so that's pretty cool. If you like high-vis colors, they do offer that as an option. Guys, without further ado, let's get out to the chipping and putting green, and let's see how these golf balls check up out there. All right, starting with the RX. A little low spinner. Oh my goodness. Okay, I see you. Nasty. Boy, that is smooth. I could sit here and do this all day. I'm gonna try to get some left spin here as well. Oh baby, yeah, and some checkup too, not just left, but some actual checkup. That's really impressive. And that's not even the spin model, so hold on a second here. All these are low spinners. Again, I mean, very similar to what I just saw. That was a miss hit, and I still saw the rotation, and I still saw some checkup, so that's pretty impressive. Oh my gosh, so I mean, just all kinds of rotation on that ball. Holy cow, I haven't seen that in a while. That's pretty refreshing. All right, now try to get some left spin here. Oh yeah, I mean, that one didn't have as much checkup, but it was kind of mishit, but it shot left like a rocket. That's insane. Okay, nice and soft, nice, good. I didn't quite see that low spinner checkup that I just got with the other two, but. Okay, yeah, so interesting enough, it doesn't spin as the other two, and that's just because we're greenside. You know, the other two are lower compression. I think that with the small chips, it's absorbing a little bit and getting more of the face. That's pretty common, actually. Once we move back further off the green, get, you know, 15 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards, the other two might start to spin more, but right now, just greenside, those first two that are for under 105 mile an hour, they are spinning a ridiculous amount. And this is still good, don't get me wrong, it's good. It's 55, 60%, but it's just not as much as the other one. Nice, really nice. Yeah, again, I see that firm rollout. We didn't see that firm rollout with the first two at all. There we go, come on. Okay, some bass effect, but still a decent rollout. It still rolls off the green, so that's interesting. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just, like on the first hop, it kind of went left. On the second hop, it went even more left. And by the third or fourth hop, it was almost going 90 degrees left. Like, that's insane. Okay, a little bit of chug effect. All right. Put chug effect on the screen here just to show you what I mean by that. It was still good, though. Got a good roll. Okay, a little bit of chug, but boy, I'll tell you what. That feel, that feedback, that is something special. Okay, so I probably overused the term butter. You know I use it a lot, but there's different levels of butter. That's some Kerrygold. You know what I'm saying? That's some of that Whole Foods premium. You see the price and you laugh at it and you're like, oh yeah, who pays for that? That's that type of butter. That is pretty farm to table right there. That's just insanity. I love the feel. It's just so gentle in the hands, but it lets you know. Now the roll is a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect, but man, that feel is something special, I'll tell you what. All right, moving on to the RXS. Okay, a little bit of a different feel. Good roll though. Oh. Yeah, so this one does have a little bit different of a feel. There's more of a hollow sound. I can hear the hollow click. Oh, there it is again. Yeah, that feel I love. Oh my goodness. That is something special. Good Lord. Oh, I mishit the crap out of it. It still looked great. That had no business being that close. I need to run that back. Nice. The roll's a little bit better with that one too. That's a thing of beauty right there. Oh, that's the kind of stuff you see in the magazines, folks. I love that. Feel 11 out of 10. Amazing. The roll's a lot better there. You know, I'm still going to say it's a 9 out of 10. You know, the previous one was an 8 out of 10, that first one, the RX. Gosh, the feel is just so amazing. All right, on to the final one. Okay, a little heavier. I think that's my least favorite of the three. Let's run that back just to see. Yeah, I mean, roll's still consistent. It's a good roll. It's not perfect. But I just, again, the butteriness, there's two particular golf balls that have this just farm to table, you know, cow just got milked 15 minutes ago butter feel. And the other two are good. You know what I mean? Like they're solid, but it's just, man, I'll tell you what. All right, now we are switching to our blade putter. Should have a little bit more feedback here. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah, a lot more feedback. The ball, like, see, that's the ball that had that butter farm to table feel. Not anymore. No, that was very average when it came to the feel. I didn't really care for the roll either. Oh wow, just heavy, clicky. I don't like the sound. Blah. Yeah, I don't like the little bit of heaviness. I mean, it's okay, but man, it's nothing like with the mallet. So when it comes to this particular ball, mallet is, you know, 11 out of 10 for the win, but this one just not as much. Yeah, I don't like that. You know what though? I do like that though. That's awesome. Okay, actually, I like the feel of that a little bit better. So now with this one, I like the blade a little bit better than I do the mallet. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, night and day difference, and I don't mind that. I don't mind a golf ball lineup being different. I don't mind one being better with a mallet and one being, I like that. I don't like them all to be the same a lot of the time. I mean, don't get me wrong, consistency is key, but it's nice when you're into golf ball fittings like Bridgestone is and how, you know, they're trying to narrow down per golfer. This is exactly what I would want to see. Oh yeah, just mwah, get in that hole. That's what I'm talking about. I see, yeah, no, I don't like that. It had some chug effect. It was hollow. I didn't like the sound. Interesting. Yeah, no, not a fan. It feels exactly the same as the RX. That's so strange, but yeah, I don't care for that at all. It is. I like it better with the blade. How about that? It's not as good as the RXS, but it's just slightly better than how I liked it with the mallet. Overall, still good here. I'm gonna change how I do my rankings. In the past, I've always done, you know, like a 10 out of 10 roll, and I've never been a fan of that, so I'm gonna mix it up. Tell me how you like the new format. All right, sound and feel, starting with the RX 7-iron. Let's see what we're working with here. Yeah, wow, yeah. So yeah, no, it's actually a lot firmer than I thought it would be. It's very firm. I mean, it's letting me know like 100% feedback. It's giving me a full data analysis report on where the ball was and how it feels and how it came off. Don't get me wrong, I know these are tour golf balls still, but that's interesting. Out of all the tour golf balls I've tested this year, I've never felt feedback like that. And it's probably a little too much feedback for my personal taste, but some of you might really like that. I'm going to mishit this one on purpose. Please pray for me because I'm nervous. This might be bad. Oh, actually, no, not too bad at all. Okay, a little bit lower compression on that one, and boy, I'll tell you what, that felt nice right there. Yeah, that's nice. That's really nice. Let's try a little mishit here. Not bad. Not bad. I mean, it's a tour ball, you know what I mean? Oh. Love to see it. See, that's so much better, and that doesn't make sense. It's designed for swing speeds well over what I'm doing, but it feels so much, I mean, it's got that crispiness to it, and it's just beautiful. So, all right, last but not least, got the X. Now, this one should feel firm. This one's the firmest of the bunch, so let's take a look here what we got. No, that's pretty nice. It does feel a little firm, but that felt good. That was a good strike, it let me know. Most of these now, see, some of these are going to get a 3 out of 5 when it comes to pure hit feel. I just want you to know that it's because of that tour level feel. It's not my cup of tea, but just keep in mind that if you like that feedback, if you like play muscle back irons and you love knowing that and you're a really good golfer, I think you'll think it's more than a 3 out of 5. But for me personally, average golfer standpoint, little too firm for what I'm looking for. All right, let's talk some data. So let's go ahead and start with the 50-yard pitch, backspin RPM. I expect these golf balls to do pretty decently, but let's see what the results were. Starting with the 50-yard pitch, we're looking at a whole lot of green, which I love to see. Now, one thing I want to note is that what I ran into last year was, Bridgestone says, hey, this is supposed to be the spinning ball, and then it doesn't spin as much. As you can see, the RX, I got an average of 8,373, whereas the spinning golf ball model, I got 8,013, and so that's a little concerning. Now, of course, there's some human element in here, but, 350 RPM more, just over that, that's a lot, guys. So there's definitely something going on there. This is the second year I've had kind of weird results in that regard. But here's the thing. They're all green, so it doesn't matter. So no matter what golf ball you use and no matter which golf ball you decide you want to try, you don't have to worry about the 50-yard pitch. They're all going to spin excellent on you. Don't get me wrong. I had high expectations, but that's phenomenal. Getting to start and having all green right from the rip is awesome. Now, granted, one of those, the green box, the RXS, only got, just slightly above average, but who cares? All above green, all awesome. The 8,459's out of this world. I love that. So that's a great start. Let's go ahead and dive into pitching wedge now, and let's keep this ball rolling. We're looking at All right, and when it comes to the pitching wedge, as you can see, we start off with 2 greens in a row there. Actually, really solid performances all over. You know, the RX and the RXS both are in the green. Spin numbers, are mid and a little low, but none of them are really, terribly low or anything. They're both going to hold the green just fine. And I saw an increased distance with both of them, so I love to see that. That's actually really good. Both launched a little low, but hey, nothing wrong with that. And then when we get into the XS and the X, they actually spun a lot more. A lot more, especially that X model, which again is something that isn't supposed to happen, but it does. That's okay. But as far as the distances, those are great too. I know they're average, but considering I'm getting so much more spin, those are also for faster swingers. That's a really good start. I have nothing really negative to say, and in fact, based on the compression numbers, all those results are right where they need to be. Yeah, so there's some really good numbers there, and what I like about those numbers the most is that they do exactly what I would expect golf balls of this caliber to do. What I mean by that is that, you have the first 2, which are, for what I'm testing, that's exactly what I should be fitted for, is those. They're under 105 mile an hour. I got great results with them. Really solid spin numbers, as far as just holding the green. They're not fantastic, but they definitely hold the green well. The ball speed's awesome. I love the distance, adding, 2 yards to what I normally get. That's great. Even a great green smash factor, which I don't see all the time. I love that. That's what I would expect out of those golf balls. I should get the most out of them when it comes to the compression, especially with the short club. Then when we get into the firmer models, I did expect there to be a drop off, but I also like that it's like a stepping stone, right? So I get into the XS, which is a little softer compression. It's not quite as firm as the X model, and so the numbers were a little bit better. They're still in the average, really good spin, which is what I would expect. I still got yellow on distance, great. And then once we got into the X, which is the firmest out of all of them, even though it wasn't a catastrophic drop off, it still was a little bit further down, and that's why those were red. So let's get into the 7-iron and let's see how we did there. All right, we kind of have a mixed bag here, so let's go ahead and kind of just break this down. If we look at the smash factors at the bottom, the 3 have the average, 1.36, which is fine. That's perfectly fine, especially for a tour ball. I have no issue with that at all. The RXS, for some reason, really low, and that's a steep drop-off. And keep in mind, I tested that golf ball twice with the 7-iron, and that was the best numbers out of both of them. So that's kind of concerning. It really is. I don't know if it's over-compression or what, but I did like the spin number. I did actually get the most spin out of both the spinning golf balls, quotations, which that's good. I got the most distance out of the distance golf balls, so I'm starting to see, and actually get the results I want, which is good. But I just really did expect expect some numbers, at least in the yellow with that RXS. You know, it's disappointing to lose a little bit of distance. I don't mind losing a little because of the spin, but that just seems like a little bit too much. When it comes to the RX, on the other hand, I'm happy with the distance, but the spin number is just really low. Anything under 5,000, I have trouble holding a green, but the ball speed's great, which is awesome, and then, you know, the Tour B RX is great as well, and it actually holds the green, 5,464. That's a great spin number. It's almost green, and then the distance is actually there too. So, you know, so far we kind of have some roller coaster going on because the Tour B RX is actually my favorite out of all of those, with second place probably being, goodness, probably the XS. So even though those are for over 105, those two are my favorite. Yeah, interesting results with the 7 overall. You know, as far as the RXS, was I over compressing it at this point? You know, maybe, I wouldn't think so, but I mean, those numbers, there's something going on there. And I do just want to let you guys know that I actually tested the RXS and the XS twice with the 7-iron. So I was having some issues with my 7-iron, and when I got inside and I saw the numbers just made 0 sense to me. And a lot of you asked that. A lot of you asked, you know, Nick, what if you were having a bad day? I'm actually pretty aware on that. I just didn't like where the numbers were. It just didn't make sense to me. The launch angle was the lowest of any 7-iron I'd hit all year, and I said, you know, I'm like, something just ain't right. So I went and retested them, got some better numbers, but even the better numbers, as you can see, were in the red for that RXS. So there's just something going on there. I don't know if it's over compression. I just don't know if with mid-irons it's that great, but that's definitely concerning for sure. Now, when it came to the rest of the stuff, again, you got a lot of this. You got a lot of roller coaster, but I don't mind it at all. Let's get into the driver and let's see how that performed. We are looking at. Okay, so this is very, very exciting. Let's start with, you know, our smash factors. 1.45, that is average. 1.43 is low, but again, we've had that issue with the RXS. 1.49 with the XS. Now, we'll talk about that one last. I know you see the little trophy up there, but don't worry, we'll get to it. 1.46 with the X, that's also really good. So when we look at the RX, you know, I have that little star asterisk next to the ball speed and the club speed because I did swing a little fast, so I just wanted you to keep in mind. The reason the 143.6 is yellow and not green is because I kind of have to do an adjustment and say, okay, if I'd swung what I was supposed to swing, you know, around 97 to 98, it would have been average. You know, I have to make an adjustment there, especially since the smash factor is average. Spin, though, really good. Like the spin number, it's respectable. Carry and distance are average. You know, it's one of those things where there are some golf balls that perform really well throughout all the clubs, but then when it comes to driver, it's average. Average isn't the end of the world. It just means that you're not going to gain a bunch of distance. You're just going to be, you know, average. Okay, you know, it works. Then when we look at the RXS, you know, again, over compression. At this point, I would have to say that's the case because, you know, I mean, it's been that way for the last couple clubs. So the numbers are kind of adding up and the ducks are in a row. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, then I'm going to assume it's a you-know-what. Then when we get to the X, you know, respectable, 143.8. You know, I'm surprised it's not first, but a respectable spin, respectable distance, actually a really good rollout, and a great smash factor. So both of those balls on the end performed the best, which I thought they would because, you know, now that I'm actually swinging my full potential and I'm getting the most compression on the golf ball, it makes sense. However, when it comes to that XS, wow, 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 wow. That is a new record. 146.6 not only is the fastest ball speed I have seen this year, it blows away second place. Like, I think second place is like 145.1 or something like that. So that is significant. We're not talking about, you know, oh, it was 0.2 better or 0.1 better. No, that is just absolutely bonkers. Now, distance-wise, I didn't get a ton more distance than, you know, second place, third place, fourth place, just because the spin was higher. I wish it hadn't been, but you cannot argue with that ball speed. That is bonkers. And the distance is bonkers. The smash factor is great. That is currently the best performance I've seen with the driver all year. So congratulations to that. I love to see it. A lot of that. I'm telling you, it's crazy how different they all are. Which, by the way, again, I get some comments on the channel from time to time, and it's just like, hey, it doesn't really matter what golf ball I use. Look at the difference, same swing between 4 different golf balls. It's huge, right? And I mean, I understand your score might not be, because I mean, even if you're 5 yards shorter on a drive, I get it. You could still hit the green and 2-putt. I get that. But you can't tell me it doesn't affect the performance. Look at those differences. I also did a how far will it go, which is where, if you're new to the channel, I basically just hit it as hard as I physically can and see what the most I can get out. It's also number 1. It was 264. This is what it is right here, actually. Yeah, so that golf ball goes forever, which again is funny. It's supposed to be a spin golf ball. It's not supposed to be about distance, but by far that golf ball is not only the farthest of the 4, it's the farthest of any of them I've tested this year, almost 60 golf balls. That's incredible. But I would want that 146. I'll take a yard or 2 less with another club to get that type of, ball speed. Mwah. All right, let's go ahead and go over to the computer and let's talk about some accuracy and dispersion. Let's see how these golf balls did. So starting with the RX, if we look at the 50-yard pitch and the pitching wedge, they're both fantastic. Those are great. However, when we get to the longer clubs and we look at the 7-iron and we look at the driver, holy cow, man. I mean, that's one of the worst I've seen this year. Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, there's a human element in here, but goodness gracious, that is all over the place. One of the least forgiving golf balls I have tested this year. Just all over the place, especially that driver. Some are long, some are short, some are out of bounds to the right, some are out of bounds to the left. It's just... that's definitely concerning for sure. I would be hesitant to play that if I saw those results on the course. Then if we get into the RXS, again, the accuracy with the 50-yard pitch is really good. The pitching wedge is excellent. There's a push there, but other than that, I mean, it's pretty spot on. I love to see that. Now, initially when I looked at the 7-iron, my first thoughts were, okay, the distance dispersion is, all right, but the accuracy is all over the place. But again, there's always the human element there. But if I look at the driver is actually really, really good. You have those 6 over there on the right. I caught one on the screws, as you can see. That's awesome. But then there was just 3 slight pulls. There was, 2 that were kind of slight, and there was 1 probably hook. Other than that, that's really excellent. So overall, this is an improvement. Because it's softer, you do sacrifice some distance, but I got a little bit better disparity when it came to the accuracy. So I like to see that. Now, it's not eye-popping by any means, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. I hope we continue to get a little better as we go along. Well, I don't know if I'd call this a step in the right direction, but it's not bad. The 50-yard pitch is still decent. When it comes to the pitching wedge, it's okay. When we get to the 7-iron, you can see I pieced that in there. That's because that's from the second test. You should have seen the first one. The first one was the stuff of nightmare fuel. It was absolutely just... Oh my goodness, I'm getting goosebumps. Sorry about that. Anyway, going to the driver, distance control's not bad, but it's all over the place. I just, I haven't seen anything so far that really, pulls me in. And, with these being tour golf balls, maybe they are just a little too advanced for me. I'm still kind of spraying them all over. Maybe you need to be a really excellent ball striker because I'm just not seeing anything that's really making me believe like, wow, I would be throwing some darts with this. Okay, well this is refreshing to see. So even though this isn't perfect, 50-yard pitch is probably the worst of the bunch, I'll admit, but pitching wedge is really solid. There was a couple pulls, but whether I pulled it or whether I hit it a little right, the dispersion was awesome. Then we get into the 7-iron, and there was a couple that came up a little short and right, but there's actually like 6 right there that are, those are darts, and I love to see that. And then driver, I had a couple pushes it looks like, but if you look at 8 out of 10 that are right there in the middle, I love that. That's awesome. So, this isn't perfect by any means, but it's really good, and I'm glad to see that. We're kind of going down a dark path there, so I'm glad we're back into the light. That's really good to see. That's probably the best of the bunch. Okay, so last but not least, let's touch on some durability, okay? We are going to start with the RX. Let's go ahead and take a look here. This is the side I hit. It's looking a little rough. There's some gouges out of there for sure. But you know what? It's still pretty good for the most part. It definitely does feel a little sandpapery, not bad. There's some marks here and there. Overall, I would expect a lot because it is a tour level ball. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. That's solid. It is going to get you through a round. That's excellent. You could probably go a round and a half as long as you don't hit any trees or anything. It's solid. It's a solid performance, but I do see some gouges there, and if I feel it, it feels a little rough. I wouldn't be able to putt this anymore. So with tour balls, I usually have a little bit higher expectations than like a 2-piece $20 golf ball, you know what I mean? But $20 dozen. But yeah, 7 out of 10 solid. Moving on to the RXS. Looking at this thing, honestly, this is pretty impressive. There's a little bit there on that one side. You can see it. It feels a little sandpapery, but not bad. There's a gouge or two, but the rest of the golf ball just looks shiny and pristine. And oh my goodness, I can't even see. It's blinding me. Okay, no, that's really good. I'm definitely going to bump that up. That's going to get a 9 out of 10. That's really good. The fact that there's barely any sandpaper there, I'm hitting the same side over and over and over. Remember, I tested this one, not only my normal 80, 90 shots, I went out and did another 7-iron test with it. So, you're talking over 100 shots with this golf ball, and it still looks like that. 9 out of 10 I'm comfortable with. That's awesome. Getting into the Tour B RXS, looking at this thing, you know, again, pretty impressive. Now, there is some gouges that are pretty bad. There's some scrapes in there. There's actually a little bit torn there. So I definitely couldn't use this golf ball anymore. It's going to be affected in the wind for sure. But again, over 100 shots. So I don't hold it to the same standard. You know, I would definitely call that a solid 7 out of 10 again. It's really good. It is going to get you through a round or more. The fact that I see some deep gouges in there, though, does concern me, because that's one of those things where it's like, okay, I can't putt with it. I'm actually even seeing some flakes up if I hold it up and kind of see the raised, you know, skin coming off of it. So 7 out of 10 I feel comfortable with, only because I hit it over 100 shots. Looking at the X, looking at this thing, it looks like it went through a meat grinder. It looks like legit, like someone revved their tires and did a burnout, and while they were doing a burnout, I stuck this golf ball back there and just let it hit the side of it. I mean, seriously, I know that's maybe an exaggeration, but this golf ball looks rough. If I feel it, ouch, ooh, ouch, ooh. No, that's really bad. Now, I know I hit the same side over and over again. Looking at the rest of the golf ball, pretty good. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. That's the best I can go. Only because the rest of the golf ball looks so pristine, I'll give it a 5. If it hadn't, it would have been a 4 or 3. I mean, it's that bad. There's no way I could use that anymore. I mean, yeah, that is really, really rough right there. I know I just showed it, but still, that's the worst of the 3. And it's funny because the other 3 weren't that bad. And then this one's like atrocious. So I don't know what's up with that. But anyway, they test how they test. All right, so concluding thoughts. A lot to cover here. There's some really good numbers, there's some really good performances, but this is how I'm going to base it, all right? We'll go through golf ball by golf ball. Let's start with the RX. The RX might be the best, just overall balanced ball for the average swinger. It really is. I saw great distance numbers with the pitching wedge. I saw, you know, excellent spin. I saw great, you know, distance with the 7-iron. Overall, performance-wise, once we got to the driver, you know, it was okay. It was good, you know, average, middle, but the rest of the clubs were pretty phenomenal. And I think as an overall picture, especially when you add that greenside spin in there, the greenside spin was phenomenal. I think that if you're an average swinger, that's one to check out first for sure. Whether you need distance or spin, I just didn't see a big enough drop off to be like, oh, you need spin? Well, you have to go with the XS or the RXS. You know, oh, you need distance? Go, you know, they were so close. You know what I mean? So who cares? Go with the performance that's better. That's what I would recommend. Now, when it comes to the RXS, you know what this golf ball kind of reminds me of? The Srixon Q-Star Tour, right? The Q-Star Tour is a decent golf ball, but it's for very, very, very slow swingers. And I felt like as an average swinger, I just overcompressed it too much and the numbers suffered. That's kind of what I felt like here. So if you're someone who swings 90 mile an hour or lower with the driver, that's probably where you give this golf ball a try. Now, as far as the spin and stuff, again, it was just too close to call. But I think you might see a little bit better performance out of that. And keep in mind, all these golf balls are a little firmer feeling. They're all tour level feedback. They don't have a lot of forgiveness. So again, this isn't for something, if you're a high handicap low swinger, stick to 2-piece. But if you're someone who's really good and you swing a little bit slower, this is where I would go with that. Then once we get into the XS, now it's like, okay, if you're someone who values driver performance above everything else as an average swinger, it's number 1. What else do you want me to say? It's number 1. It's insane how fast the ball speed came off that club. And then when you also add, you know, the amazing spin numbers I got with it, the 50-yard pitch. As far as the X, you know, the X is a good golf ball. This is actually the one I really liked the most last year. But keep in mind, last year I was swinging faster. I was testing golf balls with a faster swing speed. I increased it, and I was doing 100 to 105 mile an hour with the driver last year. So I probably would have seen a little bit better numbers. It's for a fast swinger. It's for a really good golfer. It's for someone who wants low flights. It's for somebody who is Tiger Woods. Okay, maybe not that good, but really good at golf. You know what I mean? And you need to be swinging pretty fast. I would say around like 105 or higher for sure. You know, I was swinging 98, and I just never felt like I really got the most of that golf ball. So I think it is the firmest, and I think it's for fast swingers. But based on the performance of the other 3, I would have to say it's probably a pretty darn good golf ball. I mean, if the king himself puts an endorsement behind it, I would say if you're a fast swinger and you're looking for a good value tour ball that is excellent but also has value, 37 a dozen if you buy 4, give it a shot. You might like it a lot. Guys, that's what I recommend. I'm actually really impressed. I know there's a lot of Bridgestone lovers out there. I'm glad these golf balls tested better. I was really hoping they would. Guys, as always, keep watching, keep saving, keep learning. Until next time.